as you're working on this new program, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you see as the major problems coming up and potentially even major solutions to some of those problems or ideas about working through them in federal Indian law.
Yeah, well, it's a question that would probably require more time than you might want to spend on it right now, but I can give you a snapshot of what seemed to me to be among the most pressing issues. You know, and mind, I do a lot of work with and for tribes and tribal governments, and so a lot of what tribes are interested in figuring out now are the boundaries of their jurisdiction. This is something we haven't really talked about, but but tribes have jurisdiction to prosecute people and send people to jail in certain instances, and with certain limitations on their exercise of that power, and that's changing through legislation.
The limits are changing.
The limits are changing, and the limits are changing also in the exercise of tribal civil jurisdiction. If you're a non-Indian and you own land on an allotted former reservation, and you want to build an addition onto your house, where do you go? Do you go to the tribal zoning board for a variance, or do you go to the county zoning board in the state? And believe it or not, we don't know in a lot of instances what the answer to that question is. There are lots of unresolved issues. And so what we do, those of us who are advocates in Indian country for tribes, is to try and help tribes figure out what the rules are, and then testify in Congress, as I've done a few times, to try and encourage the federal government to modify the rules to make it easier to figure out where the lines are, to make it easier for tribes to do business, to expand their economic base, to preserve their culture, which is important, and sort of fix their place on the map. It's an exciting time, Indian law domestically, because the boundaries are in flux, and I think what all of us hope for is that we can finally settle into a time when tribes are fully accepted as and understood to be what they are, which is a permanent part of the political landscape. There are three sovereigns, as Justice O'Connor said in a piece: federal government and state government, but also tribal governments. And that's a part of just how this land is organized. And so once sort of that concept gets fixed, let's get the rules fixed, and then sort of let tribes do their thing.
Yeah, well, I think it's certainly one of the places where people can make one of the strongest interventions and do some of the best work that can be done to improve those relationships and indeed the lives of American Indian folks.
Absolutely, and I should add just as sort of a final thought on that. It's also it's a rare historical opportunity. I mean, people who are even slightly interested in tribal matters, in Native American culture, history, politics, or anything like that, there's been no more exciting time to be directly hands-on involved in Native issues. There's so many things that are happening now, and relatively so few people who are trained in making them happen. So, if anybody's watching this and would be interested in learning more about how they can become involved, either in as a lawyer, for which there's a great need, or in business, or in any other guise, just sort of maybe through the online master's program we talked about, or through some other way, I'd be more than happy to visit with them, to kind of maybe help them sort out what their options are and how they might use their imagination and passion and energy to be a participant and not just a student in these exciting events.
Oh, that's fantastic. I hope that many will. Lindsay, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. We thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.